My wife cheated on me, then her side dude showed up at our door threatening both of us. Let me start by saying this. I never thought I'd be that guy. You know, the guy who gets cheated on. The guy who walks around smiling like a fool while everyone else knows what's really going on. I thought I knew my wife. I thought we were solid. I thought the vows actually meant something. But I guess love doesn't make you smart. It just makes you blind. It all started on a Wednesday. Nothing crazy, just one of those ordinary midweek nights where you fall into routine. I was on the couch, half watching a documentary I didn't really care about, and she was in the kitchen, scrolling through her phone, laughing at something she didn't bother to share with me. At first, I didn't think much of it. But then I realized something that stuck with me. She hadn't touched me in 2 weeks. Not a hug, not a kiss, not even the casual brush of a hand across my shoulder like she used to when she walked past me. Now, we've been married for 6 years. We've had dry spells, sure, but this was different. It wasn't just distance. It was like she had mentally checked out. I asked her, "Everything okay?" And she gave me that smile. You know, the one. The kind that doesn't reach the eyes. The kind you wear when you're pretending for someone else's sake. "Yeah," she said. "Just tired." Right? Tired. That night, I couldn't sleep. Call it gut instinct, call it paranoia, but something felt off. She was tossing and turning next to me, her breathing weird. At one point around 1:45 a.m., she got out of bed and tiptoed out of the room. I waited. A minute passed. Then 2. I got up and peeked through the crack in our bedroom door. She was by the front door, whispering into her phone. I couldn't hear what she was saying, but I saw her face. She was smiling. Smiling. At 2:03 a.m., she left. Didn't grab her purse, just her phone and keys. Didn't even take the car. She walked. I didn't stop her. I should have, but something in me needed proof. Solid, undeniable proof. So I waited till the morning. When she came back around 5:20 a.m., I pretended to be asleep. She tiptoed back into bed, and I felt her body relax like she just got away with something. That morning, I checked the Ring camera, and that's when everything changed. I saw her on the footage, walking quickly down the driveway, looking around like she didn't want anyone to see her. But then, at the edge of the frame, headlights flicked on. A car, parked just beyond the camera's reach. She opened the door, got in, and disappeared. My heart dropped. I replayed it 3 times. Same thing. Same timing. Same car. I couldn't see the license plate. Couldn't see who was inside. But it wasn't an Uber. It wasn't a friend. It was something else. I wanted to confront her right then and there, but I knew she'd lie. I needed more. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I put a voice recorder under the passenger seat of her car. I waited for Thursday night. She said she was going to grab dinner with some girls from work. Right? I watched her drive off, then I waited again. When she got back, I retrieved the recorder. Hands shaking, palms sweaty. I hit play, and the first thing I heard was his voice. His voice. Not a coworker. Not a friend. Not someone she mentioned in passing. No, this was a man's voice I had never heard before. Calm, confident, way too comfortable. The first thing he said was, "Miss me?" And her voice, God, it was like hearing a stranger. She giggled. She actually giggled. Then she said something I'll never forget. "You have no idea." I paused the recording. Just sat there in the garage, gripping the recorder like it was some cursed object. My ears were ringing. My stomach was in knots. But I pressed play again, because I had to know. The next few minutes were full of small talk. Nothing damning, just little cracks in the story she'd told me. She said they were going to the same place as last week. Said something about keeping the lights off this time. Laughed when he mentioned how risky it had been in the parking lot. Then she said, "He has no clue. Poor guy still thinks I'm going to yoga on Thursdays." Yoga. Yoga. That's what she told me she was doing for the past 3 months. Every Thursday. I even bought her that stupid lavender mat she never used. They kept talking, making plans for the weekend. She told him she couldn't come over Saturday because we had that stupid dinner with his mom. My mom. I nearly crushed the recorder in my hand. But the worst part, The part that broke me. She didn't sound guilty. Not even a little. She sounded happy. Like being with this guy was some twisted vacation from the prison she called her marriage. I didn't sleep that night. I just lay there next to her, listening to her breathe, wondering if everything we built meant nothing. I wanted to scream, shake her awake, throw the recorder in her face. But again, I didn't, because now I needed to know who he was. The next day, I took off work and followed her. She left around noon, said she was meeting a client for lunch. She kissed me on the cheek before she walked out the door. That same cheek burned the second she was gone. I waited 10 minutes, then grabbed my keys and followed at a distance. She drove across town, took a few back roads like she was trying not to be followed. Then she pulled into this strip mall parking lot, parked near a cafe, and waited. 5 minutes passed. Then he showed up. Mid-30s, maybe older. Tall, expensive-looking watch. Drove a black Mercedes. She got out of the car and hugged him like she hadn't seen him in years. Then they kissed. Right there in the open. No hesitation. No shame. They walked into the cafe like they'd done it 100 times. I didn't follow. I just sat in my car shaking, watching. I felt like I was in a movie. You know, the sad kind, where the husband figures it all out too late and the audience saw it coming the whole time. But then something weird happened. They weren't in the cafe long, maybe 15, 20 minutes. Then they came out arguing. She looked pissed. He was trying to calm her down, but she pushed him away and stormed off to her car. He followed her, said something I couldn't hear. Then she turned and slapped him. Hard. And that's when I realized this wasn't just an affair. This was something deeper, darker. And I was about to find out just how bad it really was. After the slap, she sped off like she couldn't get away from him fast enough. I didn't move. Just sat there in my car, trying to process what the hell I just seen. My wife cheating. Yeah, I was already prepared for that. But this wasn't just some steamy, late-night hookup behind my back. She was angry. Afraid even. And the way he chased after her, like he needed something from her, that's what messed with my head the most. I followed her home, kept my distance, heart pounding the whole way. She beat me back by 10 minutes, and by the time I walked in, she was in the kitchen, pretending to scroll through Pinterest like she hadn't just thrown gasoline on our entire marriage. Hey, babe, she said, casual as ever. You want tacos for dinner, or should I make pasta? I couldn't even answer. I just mumbled pasta and went to the bedroom. My hands were shaking, but not from sadness. This time, it was anger. Not just at her, but at myself. Because I knew, deep down, I let this go on too long. But the part that still didn't make sense. Why the argument? Why slap him? If she was so into this guy, why not just leave me? I needed more answers. And that's when I found it. Her second phone. She was in the shower that night, and something told me to check her bag. Not the purse she used daily, but the tote she only took to yoga or her work meetups. Buried under some makeup wipes and a half-eaten protein bar was an old iPhone. No passcode. I should have felt guilty snooping through it. But when your world's burning, you don't think about right or wrong. You just search for the truth. The messages were all there. Her and the guy, his name was Daniel. Real estate agent. Divorced. No kids. They've been seeing each other for at least 4 months. At first, the texts were flirty. Steamy. Gross, honestly. But the more I scrolled, the more the tone shifted. He got clingy. Needy. Controlling. Daniel, you said you'd call after dinner. Why are you ignoring me again? Daniel, I'm not doing this unless you promise me we're telling him soon. Daniel, I swear if you're just using me for attention. That last one was followed by 3 missed calls. Then came her reply short. Hold. Her stop. I told you not to text when I'm home. Her, you knew what this was. Her, do not show up again. I just sat there on the edge of the bed, gripping the phone like it was a loaded gun. So she was cheating, but now she was trying to end it? Or maybe he was threatening to expose her. It made sense, the slap, the tension. Then I found the message that sent my stomach into freefall. Daniel, if you don't tell him by Friday, I will. Friday? That was tomorrow. I put the phone back, went to bed, and pretended to sleep. But inside, I was already planning my next move. I needed to confront her, but not like some heartbroken victim. No, I wanted her to feel it. The betrayal, the shock, the same pain she dumped on me without a second thought. So I made a plan, and it started with dinner. Her favorite. Candles, wine, soft music playing in the background. The whole romantic setup. She walked in surprised. I could see it in her eyes. Maybe even a little scared. She sat down across from me, trying to figure out what was going on. "Everything okay?" she asked. I smiled and said, "We need to talk." Candles flickering. Wine poured. Lasagna in the oven, her favorite. She looked nervous. I looked calm. But inside, my heart was beating like a damn war drum. She played along for the first few minutes, smiling, making small talk, asking how my day went. I don't think she could tell whether I was setting the mood for romance or revenge. Then I dropped it. "We need to talk," I said again, slower this time. Her face changed instantly. Still smiling, but now tight, controlled, like someone who just spotted the sniper's red on their chest. "Okay," she said, setting down her fork. "What's going on?" I leaned in. "You know that little tote bag you only take to yoga? The one with the pink zipper?" Silence. She blinked. Once, twice. "What about it?" I didn't say a word. Just reached into my hoodie and placed her second phone on the table, screen up. Unlocked. Her mouth open, then closed again. Like her brain short-circuited mid-lie. She didn't even touch it. Just stared at the screen like it might explode. Then came the whisper. "Where did you find that?" "You mean the one with all the texts? The ones from Daniel?" I said. "The guy who's threatening to tell me everything if you don't." Now she was pale, shaking. Her lips moved, but nothing came out. And that's when the tears started. Not the fake ones. Not crocodile tears. These were real. Violent. Gut-wrenching. She covered her face and sobbed like a child. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she said between breaths. "I swear to God, it wasn't supposed to be like this." I let her cry for a second. Then I asked, "How long?" She didn't answer. "How long?" "For months," she whispered. "For months." I felt the blood drain from my face, but I didn't move. "You love him?" "No," she snapped, looking up. "No, it wasn't about that. He made me feel something I hadn't felt in a while." I leaned back. "So it was my fault?" "No, I'm not saying that," she cried. "You've been amazing. You're a good man. I messed up. I got in too deep." I stared at her, letting the silence do what my words couldn't. "So why the argument?" I asked. "Why'd you slap him?" That question broke her. Her hands trembled. She looked away, wiped her eyes. Then she said it. "He said, if I didn't leave you by Friday, he was going to tell you everything. Show up at the house." And I asked. I told him no. I said it was over. I told him I loved you. I didn't respond. I just stared. Because for a split second, a sick part of me wanted to believe her. But then she added, "And that's what he said, something that scared me." I raised an eyebrow. She swallowed hard. "He said, if I can't have you, no one will." When she said those words, "If I can't have you, no one will," something inside me froze. You know those moments when the world feels like it just stopped spinning? That was it. I stared at her across the table, not sure if I was talking to my wife or a stranger I had no idea how to protect anymore. "What do you mean he said that?" I asked. She looked terrified. "He's been calling nonstop, texting from random numbers. I blocked him, but I don't think he's going to stop." I rubbed my face. "Why didn't you tell me the second he got weird?" "Because I didn't want you to find out any of it," she cried. "And now it's out, and I don't know what he's capable of." My brain was on fire. I wanted to scream at her for the cheating, the lies, the years she pretended. But there wasn't time, because 10 minutes later, there was a knock at the door. Slow, heavy, measured. I looked at her. She looked at me. We both knew who it was. I stood up, walked to the front window, and peeked through the curtain. It was him, Daniel. standing on my porch like he owned the damn place. Leather jacket, smug face, like he was waiting for me to come out. I cracked the door. "Can I help you?" I said, voice tight. He smiled. "We need to talk." I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. "I think we're past that, don't you?" I said. He shrugged. "Look, I didn't come here to fight. I came here because she clearly isn't going to handle this like an adult." I clenched my fists. "She told you it was over." "Yeah, she says that," he sneered. "But let's be real, she doesn't want to be with you. She just doesn't want to lose the comfort. The house, the lifestyle." That's when I realized this wasn't love to him. It was obsession, control, maybe even revenge. "You're not in her life anymore," I said, stepping closer. "You show up again, I'm calling the cops." He laughed. "You think she'll back you up after everything she said about you behind her back?" I didn't flinch. "Try me." He stared me down for a long second, then muttered, "You'll regret this," and walked back to his car. I watched him leave. Then I went back inside. She was curled up on the floor, knees to her chest, sobbing. Her phone buzzed on the table, blocked call. That was 3 weeks ago. Daniel hasn't come back since. No more knocks. No more texts. Maybe the threat of cops scared him off. Or maybe he found someone else to control. As for my wife, we're in therapy. I don't know if we'll make it. Some days, I look at her and see the woman I married. Other days, all I see is the betrayal. It's like being stabbed in the heart, but the knife never comes out. She says she's sorry, says she'll do whatever it takes. But the truth? I don't know if I'll ever trust her again. Because love doesn't die all at once. Sometimes it bleeds out slowly, right in front of you, while you try to convince yourself it's still breathing.